Initially, there was a big premium of closed source models. Closed source models were vastly outperforming the open source, but eventually this premium shrinks, and it has already shrunk a lot. Open source models are right now like 5 to 10% away from these closed source models.
This material is for informational purposes only and is not intended to provide accounting, legal, or tax advice, or investment recommendations, or an official statement of Presto or its affiliates.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Presto Research Podcast. I'm your host, Min, and as always, I'm joined by our head of research, Peter.
Hello.
And today, we are excited to welcome a special guest, Abhishek, head of growth and strategy at Sentient. Welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I am doing great, and thank you for having me, guys.
Yep. So as usual, why don't we start with this question? How did you first get into crypto, and what ultimately inspired you to join Sentient?
Yeah, so I am a crypto class of 2016-17 reporting for duty here. So honestly, initially I got into crypto because just speculation, right? Bitcoin, everybody talked about Bitcoin. I was like, oh, what's going on? But what really made me stick is understanding the engineering part of it, and more than that, understanding like the use cases. So I read this book called Blockchain Revolution by Alex Tapscott. And funny enough now, Alex is a good friend, and I learned about these different use cases, and I was like, I'm in. And yeah, then joined in 2021, joined Polygon Venture, which is the venture arm of Polygon. I took care of their DeFi infra investments. AI boom came in, and the legends, Sandeep, who's a legend in crypto, Himanshu and Pramod, who are their own, legends in product as well as AI research, were starting Sentient to build open source AGI. And I was like, I have to be a part of this. And that's what got me into Sentient.
Yeah, so I guess for those who's hearing the Sentient for the first time, I know there's like a bunch of words, AGI, open source, LLMs. What's like the simplest way to describe what you're building today? Who's like non-technical?
Yeah, I think like AI, generally any emerging tech is very good at making like very like mad amount of acronyms. So if I like use them, please call me out. I will try to like define it as much as possible. So at core, Sentient's mission is that AGI should be open source and not controlled by a few entities. And we'll do anything and everything possible to make that happen. How we are working on this mission right now is building Grid. So Grid is a collection of intelligences that work together to give AGI level output. And all of these intelligences, which could be models, agents, tools, data providers, is all open source. There is a fundamental thesis behind it that AGI will not be one kind of like big model giving you AGI level output, rather multiple specialized intelligences working together to give AGI level output. And within the Grid, the core part that we are working on is this AI reasoning, the ability of AI to reason that allows us to send these queries to different intelligences, do the right tool calling, and give you the best outcome. So hopefully that was simple, but I'm not sure. So feel free to ask me more.
Yeah, sure. Maybe some people in crypto are maybe already familiar with another, maybe similar network, BitTensor. Like when you compare yourself to BitTensor, like are you in like directly overlap with what they're trying to do, or is it not much competition there?
I think, like, first of all, we have a lot of respect for BitTensor. But if you foundationally think of what the BitTensor protocol is, it's funding and pricing mechanisms for different AI and ML initiatives, which are within subnets, right? So BitTensor doesn't run kind of a business. The validators of the subnet run a business. Miners farm the emissions, etc. It proved that, open like crypto can fund AI development. We are not, I won't say we are in direct competition with BitTensor. We are actually more AI than crypto. So we are building AI products. Our research is all AI. We will also monetize these AI products with enterprises and with consumers. So actually BitTensor and Sentient could very well be partners. We will borrow some things from BitTensor, of course, but I won't say we are direct competition, and we are very happy for the existence of BitTensor because it moves the open source and community build AI forward.
How about compare with like other closed-end LLMs like ChatGPT, OpenAI, Anthropic Cloud? How is it compared? How is it different from them?
Yes. So at the end, they also have a similar goal. Their goal is that they want to build AGI. Our goal is that AGI should be open source. So we'll be building sometimes a lot of similar stuff as well. But how we are achieving AGI is different than how they want to achieve AGI. And also, like, we collaborate with all of these other foundational model builders, whereas they have their own models that they build and train. If you, at a foundational level, the difference would be, they are building this big LLM that has all the capabilities of reasoning and whatnot, will have some tools and kind of try to give you an AGI level output. Whereas we are building Grid, which allows to coordinate amongst all of these intelligences, like a Quinn, Kimi, these are like open source models. Then tool calling, like MPCs, other tool calling frameworks, search. We coordinate across all of them to give you a better output. So the difference is like difference of someone building a big model versus someone building a kind of a collection that allows every query to be redirected to whichever specialized intelligence can answer the best, and collect answers from multiple of these intelligences and give you the best. They give you like a good combination of answers. So yeah, I don't know if that explains, but I can go further as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of makes sense. But like how long you been operational? Is it like for less than a year?
More than a year.
More than a year.
I think,
okay.
yeah, more than a year. Our research, I think it's coming about to be like 2 years.
I see. Yeah.
Operational, but we stand on the shoulders of giants who have done a lot of work on open source. Like, we do use a lot of open source models. So that's the difference between open source and closed source. Open source can be accelerated because you are leveraging contributions of thousands of developers who are just doing it on their own for their own purposes. So that's how we feel open source just accelerates faster than closed.
Right. And then, this the AI space in general, I mean, it's moving really fast. And when speed is something that matters, generally speaking, the centralized entities are usually respond much more quickly, generally speaking. I don't know if that's been your experience in decentralized AGI network space. And if that's not the case, why is that?
Yeah, I think in the initial part of a technology building, closed source technology do accelerate. And we saw that in AI as well. Initially, there was a big premium of closed source models. Just talking about models, like all of these closed source models were vastly outperforming the open source, but eventually this premium shrinks, and it has already shrunk a lot. Like, I would say open source models are right now like 5 to 10% away from these closed source comparison to closed source model. Like, Kimi outperforms everyone in research. DeepSeek outperforms everyone in advanced math. They're also significantly cheaper than like OpenAI models. So yes, initially there is kind of a premium for closed source, but eventually it shrinks. And at one point it crosses because of the amount of people building in open source. Everybody is leveraging everyone else's work and building on top of it. Eventually it crosses, and eventually it would win. And we have seen that across. Like, we saw that with like Linux, top 500 supercomputers, all Linux. Android, Linux. Like, Red Hat was like this $38 million enterprise Linux application that got acquired. So we've seen that across. Like, Linux is one example, WordPress is another example, Apache is another example.
Maybe can I add another example? Maybe Wikipedia is an example.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just like Wikipedia is another example where so much contribution from so many people just actually grew it. And with open source, it's not just like people contributing, there are big firms contributing. Like
Right.
entire APAC is building open source models, and they are like Moonshot AI, like like they build incredible models. Like okay,
Yeah.
they're like very big and expensive, but still. So yeah, that's the answer for my theory there. It starts with a gap, shrinks, already shrinking, and eventually takes over.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, intuitively, I completely agree with you, but just, there are some industries or some areas where maybe centralized model is more efficient or would do better. So I wasn't sure whether, that's necessarily also the case, but I'm glad to hear from you that the decentralized open source model is actually also working quite well for you guys.
Yeah, we are using all open source models, and our benchmarks often beat closed source. I would still say closed source is still ahead, but that gap has shrinked quite a lot. Just look at like different benchmarks of all of these different open source versus closed source models. So yeah, we are just looking forward to closing that.
I guess before we move on, we talked a lot about the word AGI, but the definition of AGI is kind of it's really not clear, right? I was kind of curious how you or Sentient how do you guys define AGI as, and is it something and also about the timeline when we could reach like what we call AGI?
Yeah, it's a very fascinating question. How do you exactly define it? The simple, easy definition, which everybody uses, is that when AI has human level intelligence. But then what does it mean? For us, it means like, so how we look at it is like LLMs are static and intelligence is dynamic. Now, what that means is intelligence is not just predicting the next token or predicting the next word. Intelligence goes beyond that, which means intelligence means like an AGI should have the ability to reason as well as learn at the level of humans. Both reasoning and learning, which could be like, self-contained learning or whatever, are what we call in AI is out of distribution. So in distribution means any output that you're getting out of an LLM was in their training data. Out of distribution is that this was not in the training data. The LLM learned itself or reasoned by our tools or whatever to get to that output. So in a very similar way, in a very like simple way, to summarize all of this would be AGI is when intelligence is at the level of humans. And that means when the models are able to reason and learn at the level of humans.
In a scale of 100, where are we at right now?
I honestly, it would be very hard for me to score. I don't want like our research team coming back to me and saying, Abhishek, that was the worst score given. So yeah, it's a very hard answer because nobody knows what it will take to like move the next step. Like every order of like every other, so there's this term, right? Every 9 you achieve is equal amount of effort. So to achieve 90% is same amount of effort as going from 90 to 99. And from going to 99 to 99.9 is the same amount of effort as going from 90 to 90 to 99. And this you have seen in this like autonomous car, right? It took so many years to build like autonomous car, like self-driving models. I don't want to put a score at it.
And also, can you describe a little bit about the Roma? I mean, I think that's that's the network that I guess your service kind of operates on. But like, how is it different from traditional LML centric approach? And what advantages or trade-offs come with this type of framework?
Yeah. So basically, when I talked about grid, that it coordinates multiple intelligences being agents, tools, models, everything. Roma is the one orchestrating all of that.
What does this stand for? Roma?
Multi-agent orchestrator. How Roma fundamentally works is that it takes any query that you send it to Roma. It breaks it down to the most atomic query possible. So one query would be broken into like multiple atomic queries, like the smallest piece to resolve. And then it chooses the right intelligence or tools, etc., to resolve that small query. And as you branch out this tree, it then converges into a final answer. That is what Roma does. So Roma is part of reasoning research. So like broadly, everything that LLM does kind of out of distribution is reasoning. Roma is a big part of our reasoning research. We recently released Roma V2 as well. So that is what Roma does. Now, advantages of Roma, it will be better than any individual model in terms of quality, because queries are being routed to kind of a specialized intelligence, right? And the specialized intelligence performs better than like general intelligence. Another advantage, which is counterintuitive, is actually it costs less. And for example, if I send a particular query to like a big model, it costs a lot. But in Roma, every query is split and it's sent to a smaller specialized model or specialized agent. It costs like that for that agent. It's a smaller model. It costs less to operate. So when you send it to a big model, it actually costs more. When you send it via this distribution of Roma, where it goes to a smaller specialized intelligence, the net cost of getting an output is reduced. We released this research, the Dobby report. You can find it on website, which has which shows how Roma reduces cost. So these are advantages: better capabilities, lower cost. There are disadvantages. First is latency. There's too much coordination. There's tool calling. It might get slower. So that comes down to solving it by making it more efficient. And second disadvantage that can come is factuality. If factuality means if you reason a lot, sometimes the entire system forgets forgets some part of the initial prompt. Also, sometimes it just reasons itself to hallucinate into a conclusion or hallucinate something. So sometimes factuality, it makes up facts, and that decreases. But that can also be solved by just like at every step checking or having this n number of steps, paths, and checking like factuality deviation at every path and choosing the right one. So yeah, this is like broadly Roma advantages and disadvantages.
So for people who wants to check it out, is like Sentient chat like the best tool to test it out, or?
Yes. So Sentient Chat is the way consumers can access Grid. Grid uses Roma. And we are also using Roma for a lot of enterprise use cases. So we are working, like we already have some enterprise clients, but they are like BFSI clients. So they are very hush about taking names. So we are working with them, running some POCs where they use our Roma for orchestrating the multiple agents that they use within their current workflow. But for users, it would be enterprise chat. Sentient chat. Sentient chat is kind of like the demo version of Grid, which uses a lot of our products.
I think it's actually a good time to talk about what most people are interested in, which is the token. So I just want to, so if your agent is selected to give an answer to the Sentient chat, will they get rewarded through the token, or?
Yes. So there are multiple utilities to the token. The big one is, fees and payments. So all of our goal, our vision is that all of this open source AGI GDP will be denominated in cent. So people who are using any product from Sentient, all the payments happen in cent. So this agent that is used for paying customers will get rewarded in cent. So all it becomes like like GDP of open source should be denominated in cent. Would we are, if we win, that is what how glory would look like for us. Yeah, and there are other utilities as well. I'm not sure if you want me to go into those.
Yeah, that would be great if you could just tell us briefly.
Like the big piece is this fees and payments. GDP denominated in cent for open source AGI. The second big piece is staking. So staking allows for allows for governance and allows for access and allows for capabilities. So governance is obviously if you could stake cent, that will how you'll govern the protocol. Access, if you're a developer who want to actually do certain tasks that gives you reward, bounties that are put out by external parties, you'll have to have some cent staked. So every open source developer has a stake in cent. And the third part was capabilities. So if you're a user for using products, even if you're not paying in cent, sometimes you would need to stake cent or hold cent to use them to unlock different capabilities. So that's the staking part. And add the third, like generally governance of the protocol, which is what most tokens are also used for. Any Web3 project?
Yeah, I mean, sounds good. I mean, I think one of the key things, obviously, I think is there's so many projects out there, but some of them don't really have any net benefit of a network effect. But it sounds like in the case of Sentient, I think the more people join the network to participate in sharing the intelligence, the more useful the network becomes. So there's definitely a correlation between the value of the tokens and the network effect. Am I right in saying that?
You are 100% right, and that's how I know why you are the head of research.
You should be in sales also, I think.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. So that's how, like, that is the open source network effect that we are bringing to the Sentient token, right? The more developers contribute, the more useful it gets, which generates more demands, which makes more developers to contribute.
That's right.
So it's just a self-fulfilling, like a circle, right?
Yeah. Flywheel effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that I always look for in projects, and it's surprisingly not many projects have that. But I think you're
like this.
definitely...
There was this research on network effects. The NFX venture fund. They used to do. Yeah, you should check it out. As NFX venture fund, they have like a full article on different kind of network effects. Very fascinating. Yeah.
Well, how do I do that? Just Google their name. Google search their name.
The NFX. This was like back in the day. Like
you Google search and then ask Sentient chat for the summary.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Yeah. All right. NFX Ventures. Okay, yeah, I got it. Okay.
Yep. So I guess looking ahead 5 to 10 years, how do you envision the AI and Web3 landscape changing? And what will be like the mainstream open source AGI look like?
Actually, 5 to 10 years is a very good estimate of the timeline. I know you asked me before, and I think I skipped it. 5 to 10 years is actually a very reasonable estimate of a timeline of when AGI could potentially be there. We underestimate what we can do we overestimate what we can do in a week, but we underestimate what we can do in a decade. How will AGI look like? Like, I think in every aspect where, like in every knowledge work, you will be leveraging AI. And I also generally, I think the only thing that will limit our usage of AI at that point would be energy. And you'll be using wherever it is energy efficient to do a knowledge work. And I generally feel like humans will have a lot more spare time. Expenditure on entertainment will go up. I think general prosperity will go up because you have just the productivity per capita goes up because everybody's using AI, everybody's 10x more productive. So that's I know that happens if you're a closed source AGI or an open source AGI. But in an open source AGI world, all of the models that you're using, tools that you're using to do everything that you want to do is not controlled by 100 people deciding what the model deems right or wrong. Rather than it is controlled by the public deciding, what is right, what is wrong, and who the model serves, which the model should serve everyone.
Do you think closed source AI and open source AI can coexist, or one of them will push out the other?
Yeah, I think it will coexist. But over a very long period of time, I think more technology deviates towards open source. But for till the time, let's say an AGI is released, I think it would definitely coexist. And there would be regional preferences as well. Why would India use a model built in the US to do all of their government operations? They would rather have an open source model that they are open source. And AGI is not just models, it's like everything, right? It's models, reasoning frameworks, to everything. They would rather have an open source version that they host themselves that is aligned to values that India believes are right and acts accordingly. Basically, there's a lot of reasons beyond performance that they will coexist.
Well, going back to the Wikipedia example, the Britannica went bankrupt. So I don't think anybody really use centralized encyclopedia these days, right?
Yeah.
So maybe open source will win out.
That's the battle. We definitely want open source to win. It's a big, I don't know how to express this. How big of a risk is that, the most powerful tool that humans have ever created will be controlled by like Sam Altman, Elon Musk, and like the CEO of Google. Like that is crazy, man. Like
It is crazy.
insane. Like, I don't know how to express this more urgently that we need to have open source AI.
But I think the public needs to wake up to that. I think what I feel is a lot of times people are quite complacent about the risk that you just described of this concentration, and don't care too much about just having one or two dominant players. But I think people kind of need to wake up themselves. Otherwise, decentralized model may not see a wide acceptance.
I think small acts of malice by these powerful people will make people wake up. Like, for example, even like Grok, right? Grok at some point was just glazing Elon Musk on Twitter. So you can see how Elon Musk is just controlling the model that a lot of people are using. And there's this saying called absolute power corrupts absolutely. Even if everybody starts with great intent, if like three people in the world have absolute power of the most powerful tool in the world, they will use to serve them. It will happen. There would have to be some checks and balances. And that comes from the open source part of the world. So hopefully.
Yep. I guess then before we end, for listeners who are interested in learning more about Sentient, of course, they can experience the Sentient chat, but whether it is tech team or coming news, where should they, what's like the best place to find them?
Yeah, if you're a developer, you go to our GitHub. You can go to our website and you'll find it. And all of our repos are live. You can use Roma to build something. You can use ODS to build something. Our models are also live in Hugging Face. You can use them. If you are a consumer, you can use Sentient Chat and also just learn more about the efforts that we are doing. We have a blog where we post out things and also post blogs which shows our research in a more simpler fashion, so you don't have to go into the math of it. And if you're a researcher, you can always contact us for any collaboration. There's also a lot of research we put out. And if you want to help in any way, just reach out to people on Twitter, and we are always looking for more people to contribute in the open source.
Yep. I think that's it for today. Thanks, Abhishek, for sharing your insights. And see you guys all next week.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you.